Now, the question some might ask is, do we have data about the state of affairs in the church? Do we know what is really happening in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, or are we reliant on anecdotes and stories? And the answer is we do know what's happening in the church because we have done research. We did 4 major studies that informed the creation of the 2025 to 2030 strategic plan. First, we did a global church member survey. This was global church member survey number 3 after surveys in 2013 and 2018. And you can see the N on the screen. Now, what is the N? It's a term that's used by professionals in research. The N means the total number of completed responses. And you can see we had an N of 149,613. So this is an extraordinary body of data on global church members. We also did a survey of global pastors with an N of 12,760, which is not just a good sample, it's actually a significant percentage of all the pastors in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So we have a very good grip on what is happening with our pastors, who are our most important workforce. Over a slightly longer period, we did a survey of employees in the church's many institutions. We did it longer because this was complex research, so it took longer to do, but it also reported in 2023 with an N of 13,669. And we did a survey of global church leaders down to the conference level, every level from general conference and its divisions, union and conference, officers and departmental leaders, an N of 3,756. So Mike, what are the data telling us? What do we learn from this research that is of unprecedented width and depth? No church in the world has done research like this. So what do we know? Well, here we have some data, for example, on personal prayer. And the sad thing is, we asked how many Adventists pray every day other than at mealtime. So a kind of prayer that is reasonably sustained, engaging God at a reasonable length. And you can see that the percentage who engaged in daily prayer didn't change at all between 2018 and 2023. It was one of our strategic goals to increase the number of church members praying. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. So we know we can do better there. Then we asked about Bible reading. And again, you can see very little change between 2018 and 2023. But actually, we have longer-term data on the church, on Bible reading in the church. We had specific surveys about Bible reading going back to 2002. And you can see that in 2002, just 33% of church members read the Bible daily. 2007, it was only slightly higher. So in 2010, the World Church introduced the Revival and Reformation Initiative, and praise the Lord, Bible reading went up significantly by 2013 to 42%. But since then, perhaps we'd already motivated most of the people who were easy to motivate to switch to daily Bible reading, because since then the percentages have only increased by a marginal amount. We've increased up to 42% and then up to 48%. And if you look at the percentage that reads the Bible not every day but several times a week plus daily, so multiple times a week, it's now at 75%. But Mike, we would like to see that percentage significantly higher. Adventists say we are the people of the book. We would like to see that figure in the mid-80th or even 90th percentile. So yes, the percentage of people reading the Bible has increased, but we need to studying the Bible regularly, but we need to increase that more. What about reading Ellen White? Here you can see the trend, unfortunately, since Global Church Member Survey number 1 in 2013, the trend is downward. Both the trend in the daily and the several times a week. So we want our members to gain the blessing of the insights that our prophetess had. And yet the percentage who regularly read Ellen White has declined over the last 10 years. It's not just a one-time snapshot. We have a trend, and the trend is not good. what does that do to the percentage of people who say they wholeheartedly embrace Ellen White as a prophet? That percentage is going down too. So again, we want our church members to benefit from the blessing of the spirit of prophecy, so there is more to do.
You know, David, this gives an example of how data can help you, because it is also a fact that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is growing in the 1040 window. We're going to places where we've never been. We are contacting people groups that have never been part of the Seventh-day Adventist family. And sometimes we will say, well, they're not reading Ellen White because we don't have books in their language. And that signals us as leaders. We have a challenge. The leaders in this room, make those writings available in their language.
Let's look at a couple of other interesting key facts. Belief in creation, and the statement that we asked people whether they agreed with is, I believe God created the world in 6 literal days in the relatively recent past. So this is a Genesis 1 narrative of creation, and you can see that if you combine the strongly agree with the agree, it's barely changed over the last 10 years, and it's around 85%, which is where we'd want it to be. But do you notice the shift? Fewer people now strongly agree, more people are choosing agree than strongly agree. So even though the overall percentages remain the same, fewer people are saying they strongly agree. But Mike, the creation doctrine is absolutely fundamental. It's fundamental to the Sabbath. It's part of the 3 angels' messages with its warning to give glory to the Creator. So we need people to be strongly agreeing with this. So this isn't as much of a concern, but we see the beginnings of a trend that is a little concerning. On the other hand, on the sanctuary, and the belief in the investigative pre-Advent judgment beginning in 1844, we see a positive trend. So again, we identified in 2013 that there was a need to do more, but here we see a positive trend. So data again helps us. It's not always negative. But just to end with one really sobering statistic, in 2018 we discovered that 1 in 3 church members believe that the soul is a separate spiritual part of the body of a person that lives on after death. This is extremely concerning because Seventh-day Adventists are not supposed to believe this. Formally, we don't believe this, and yet we found 1 in 3 church members worldwide believed. We set ourselves in our strategic goals, our KPI, our key performance indicators, to move this, and yet hopefully you can just make out from on the slide, I realize it's very far from you, but actually nothing changed at all. We got exactly the same responses in 2023 as in 2018, so that hasn't shifted at all. Mike, we know that spiritualism is going to be part of one of the great deceptions at the end of time. Ellen White has warned us of that. And so we need to do better at educating our members not to be deceived by this deception. Again, it's 1 in 3 church members believe this, and in some divisions it's in the 40th and 50th percentile.
This data comes as a challenge to every leader in this room. I don't care if you're an elected leader, you're a pastor, paid worker, but more importantly, if you are a layperson in this room. This data comes as a challenge.